Al-Kadosh, Boker or Masechet Nedarim Daf Amud Aleph 15a1. Says the Gemara, we just finished off yesterday by mentioning that there was going to be a difference between a Tnai and an Isur. Meaning, if a person comes and he made a neder that he's not going to sleep, right? That he comes and he says he's not going to sleep today if he doesn't sleep tomorrow, so it's a suit for him to sleep today. But if he sleeps today, so tomorrow he's only going to be over on the Tanai. And if he's going to be over on the Tanai, a person will be over on the Tanai. But if he does the opposite, if he comes and he says he's not going to sleep tomorrow if he doesn't sleep today, so today he's allowed to sleep. Because when he sleeps today, so tomorrow if he sleeps, it's an Isur to sleep. It's not a Tanai. So if it's an Isur to sleep, people are careful of Tanaim. They're not going to come and start making, of Isurim. So they're not going to come and start doing Isurim. That's how we finished off yesterday's Daf. Today we are starting with Tanan, the second line on the page, 15a1. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Kunam shani yashen, shani me'alech, or shani medaber. If a person comes and he says, Kunam on that which he's going to sleep, that means if he's going to sleep, it's going to be to him like a korban, or if he walks, or if he talks. So then again, remember, kunamot, kuname, kunache, kunase are the lishonot of also nedarim. Not only just JELI isur or a korban, but these are like the subcategories. Hechidami, what is the case? If you're going to tell me, just like we learned, shani yashen, mihave nidra. He comes and he says, if a person comes and he prohibits himself to sleep, right? Or the same lacha now is to talk or to walk, right? Is it considered an neder? Vatanya, we learned in a braita, chomer b'shvuot, there's a chumra by shvuot more than nedarim. Shashvuot chalot al davar sheyesh bo mamash. The shvuot is going to be chal on something that has mamashut, right? That you remember that means a shavua has to be on something which has mamashut. Al davar she'en bo mamash, right? Or on something which is not mamashut. Mashen kem nedarim. On the other hand, by a neder, shena in rate davar she'en bo mamashu. Now, one second. A neder has to be on something which has mamashut. So therefore, since a neder has to be on something that has mamashut, thank you. So therefore, what happens is that here, if it is no mamashut, there's no problem, right? So therefore, there's no neder. A neder has to be chal on something that has mamashut, right? So he says, Ela damar kunam enai b'shena. He says, no, kunam on his eyes b'shena. What is enai? On the means it's on the eyes. The eyes are tangible. The shena is not tangible. A person sleeps. Sleep is not tangible. Enaim is tangible. You can feel the enaim. Look, you're touching the enaim. So says the Gemara, V'lo diyahiv shiura. If a person did not put a shiur of how much, mishafkin aleh, right? Ad de'avad isur, let him just come and say that he's going to be over on the isur of bal yachel. What does that mean? Imagine a person comes and he says that it's going to be a kunam if he's going to sleep. Now he doesn't put a time. It means what? He's not allowed to sleep at all for the rest of his life? Why? You're gonna wait until when do you have to wait until he's going to be over on the Isur? The Amar Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says, Shevua shelo ishan shlosha yamim malkin oto v'yashen laltar. If a person comes and he says he's going to make a Shevua, what's a Shevua? He's not going to sleep for 3 days. Remember, why does it have to be a Shevua? Why can't it be a neder? So says the Gemara, again, Shavua, that a person is not going to sleep for 3 days. We said it had to dafka be a Shavua. So what happens? Balkinoto. Give him lashes. Telo makot. Why? Because Shavua chav. Biashel altan. And if he wants, he could sleep right away. Why? Because anyway, he was already over on the Shavua. Ela de Amar, but rather obviously it has to be Zman Katzuf. It has to be a set time. De Amar, kunam enai b'shenel lemachar in Shana Yom. Kunam enai, that if he's going to sleep tomorrow, because remember, kunam is lashon of neder or shavua? Shavua. No. Neder. Okay, I didn't. Okay. Very good. Neder. But if it's a neder, we just said that shena was not a neder. So how do we answer that? If he says enayim, then it is chal the neder. Again, let me repeat. Kunam enayim b'shena lemachar. Im yeshana yom. He said on the eyes. The eyes is something tangible. And since it's something tangible, mamashi. Once it's called mamashut, the rest is going to be chal. However, though, hamarta, if you're going to say, kol be'isurem mizdahar. But if you're going to tell me that in isurim, you are careful, how do we start today's daf? Today's daf, we went and we started by saying, if it's a t'nai, you're not careful. But you over on a t'nai. Lemafriya, you didn't isur, but you over on a t'nai. But if you're over on isur, you're not going to be over on isur. Here, this is an isur. This is an isur. One more time. Kuna minai b'shena lemachar, im yeshana yom. That means if I'm going to sleep for today, tomorrow, if I sleep today, ha-amarta, but you just told me that isur is that. Elapshita, but rather you have to say, kuna minai b'shena hayom, im yeshana lemachar. You have to say about the tonight. So it's the opposite. Today, if I'm going to sleep tomorrow. Now, today, you're going to sleep. Now, we said it's a suit for you to sleep. Why? Because if you're going to sleep today, tomorrow, if you sleep, what is that? That's not an isur, that's a tonight. So for there, we suspected that you were going to do it because you're going to be over on a tonight. You're not going to be over on an isur. So says the Gemara, V'lo naim hayom, ki naim lemachar, may ba lechel devar ika, ela lav, pedenaim. So 1 second. What happens if you didn't sleep today? If you didn't sleep today, are you allowed to sleep tomorrow? Yes. Because the condition was that you're not allowed to sleep tomorrow if you sleep today. But today, if you didn't sleep, you're allowed to. So therefore, what's the problem then? So obviously, it means that you have to fall asleep. So Alma, so you see from here, we could learn from a Mishnah that also in a place of Nisur, a person is allowed to sleep. Right? And when it says, it means that you're allowed to sleep today, even though you made a neder, right? Even though you made a neder not to, right, not to sleep, okay, and put yourself, the Rabbi Yehuda is against Rabbi Yehuda. Because Rabbi Yehuda said if a person made a neder not to sleep today, his neder is going to be, and then he's going to be toleh's neder in a tribe tomorrow, he's not allowed to sleep today. And here you see that he did sleep today, so he was allowed to sleep today. So answers the Gemara, ki katani, the naim, what are we talking about? The Mishnah is talking about, right, not, he fell asleep, not because it's mutar for him to go to sleep, he fell asleep today. Really, Be'emet, even today, it's a sur for him to go to sleep. But what happened was he fell asleep. He didn't ask. It was b'diavad. This is what happened. Ravina comes and he says, Leolam kidiktani, really, Be'emet, is exactly like we learned. Umay bal yachel. So then what does it mean bal yachel? Right? So he says, midrabanan. There's an isur drabanan of bal yachel. There's no isur doraita, because at the end of the day, it was only on something which has mamashut. Remember, when a person comes and he says, kunam mashani yashen, is nothing. So therefore, it has to be, it's only drabanan then. So ma'ika, so says the Gemara, mi'ika bal yachel, does there exist a drabanan? Meaning, does there exist that you're not allowed to profane your words, that you're not allowed to go against the neder midrabanan, midoraita? I understand, but no drabanan. Answers the Gemara, yes, it does exist. How do we see it? Tanya, as we learned in a braita, devarim, right? Hamutarim, va'acherim, right? Certain dvarim are mutarim, yeah? So dvarim are mutarim. If you have dvarim, which is going to be mutar, va'acherim nagum, but other people say it's asur. Asur to do these dvarim, yeah? You're not allowed to permit it in front of him. Yeah, Shenemav says in a pasuk, lo yachel devaro. That means there's like a minhag. Yeah, lo yachel devaro is bamidbar. Right, lo yachel devaro is bamidbar. Lamed gimel. Matoma say, yeah. So tznan. Now we learned the Mishnah Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. Right, that's later on in the Darim. Right, imagine a person comes and he says, right, after Chag HaSukkot, Kunam she'at ne'enet li ad Pesach. Imagine a person got so upset with his wife. He comes and he says, you know what? He makes a neder. You're not allowed to benefit from me until Pesach. From Sukkot to Pesach. Not bad, no? 6 months. Boom. Makkah in one shot. Yeah? Or im tilchi lebet avich ad Chag. Or, right, he comes and he says, if you go to your father's house again until the next Chag, until Sukkot. So he made his conditions. He went and he said, he doesn't like the shver and shviger. They're very shver. They're very, it's in the in-laws, right? Yeah. So what happens? He comes and he says, if you go to your father's house one more time, from now until next Sukkot, you're not allowed to benefit from me until Pesach.
What do you mean benefit from me? Eat from me?
Nothing. No benefiting. Nothing. No relations. No nada. Nada. Nothing. So what happens? Halcha lifnei Pesach. So she went before Pesach, right? He went before Pesach. Asura banatu ad Pesach. So she's going to be prohibited until Pesach, right? Why? The neder was chal. Are you listening? The neder was chal. 1 minute. Questions afterwards. 1 minute. Hal chal lifnei Pesach. Right now, what happens is, right now, if he comes and he says she went before Pesach, asura. So then, only then she's going to be prohibited. Lo alcha. But let's say she didn't go before Pesach. So lo, she's not going to be prohibited. And therefore, she's allowed to benefit from her husband. Now, 1 second. In this case, the Yisur is that she's not allowed to benefit until Pesach. That what she said, that he went and he said that you're not allowed to go to my father's house, is a t'nai. And still we said she's allowed to benefit from the husband, and we're not going to suspect that she's going to be over in the t'nai. You guys are getting very technical. 1 second, but he has the ketubah, he's got a chiyuv. We're not talking about chiyuvim now. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, is the neder chal or is the neder no chal? Do we suspect that she's going to be over in the t'nai or not over tonight? Anti kansule. The ketubah. That's a different parasha. It's a different parasha.
You're going to send neder.
Amar Rabbi Abba, says Rabbi Abba, halcha lifnei Pesach. If she went to the father's house before Pesach, asura, she's not allowed to benefit from the husband, and therefore loka. So therefore, whatever she transgressed, she gets slashes because she went against, right? Lo yachel devaro, because she was avra ala neder, right? So he comes and he says, right? No, 1 second. No, the opposite. Hold on 1 second. One more time. If the woman comes and she went, so she's going to get lashes, right? Because she was overet on the neder, lo alcha, but if she didn't go, right? Which means if she didn't go before Pesach, asura be'alma, which means she's not allowed to benefit before the Pesach, because we suspect that maybe she's not going to be careful on her tonight. But that's only an isur d'Rabbanan, but she doesn't get lashes. Because at the end of the day, the concept of not being careful on a Tanai is not an Isur Doraita. If she actually did go, she was converted to an Isur Doraita. But here it was only an Isur Tanai. So you're right, it's a Sur, because we suspect she's going to be converted on the Tanai. But it's only an Isur Dorabanan, it's not an Isur Doraita. So says the Gemara, okay, fine, let's see the Seifa. Achara Pesach. Imagine right now she comes and she says, she goes until after the Pesach. She's going to be transgressing the words of Bal Yachil Devaro. Now, if you're going to tell me that she did not benefit until before the Pesach, is there going to be Bal Yachel? But rather, we have, it's obvious that, right, that it's going to come and it's going to have a benefiting. Alma mitane, so you see from here that she's benefiting, which means that we learn from here that she's allowed to benefit from the husband. We're not going to suspect that she's going to go to the father's house, right? This goes against Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says that we suspect that we're going to come and you're going to what? 15b. Yeah, we suspect that you're going to come and you're going to go against a Tanai. Here we say we're not going to suspect she's going to go against a Tanai. So answers the Gemara, when did the Mishnah say that if she's going to be overet on the neder and she's going to benefit before the Pesach, so it comes out that she was overet lemafreya retroactively on lo yachel devaro, which means that retroactively she was overet on the neder. Right, and that itself is what the Mishnah is coming to teach you. That therefore, basically, if at the end she's not careful with the Tanai, right, it comes out that she was overet mafreya on Isur Doraita. Why? She was overet on the neder. Remember, I cannot prohibit something onto you which is yours. I could prohibit something onto you which is mine. Okay, remember those words. I cannot prohibit something onto you which is yours. But I could prohibit on something onto you which is mine. But since it's mine, I could say I don't want you to benefit from it. And it's a sur for you to benefit from it. Okay? Tanam, we learned in the Mishnah. Okay, again, this is the Mishnah later on, 57b, Nun Zayin Mubet. Kunam shad nenet liyad chag im telchir bet avicha the Pesach, the same thing. Imagine a person comes and he makes a neder to his wife, you're not allowed to benefit from me, right, until Chag Sukkot, right? If you're going to go to your father's house until Pesach, okay, beforehand it was Ad Ne'elita Pesach until Chiyad Sukkot. Now it's right. Don't benefit from me until Sukkot if you go until Pesach. So she went before Pesach, right? So it says over here Asura ba'anato ad Chag. So she's prohibited to benefit from her husband until the Chag, until Sukkot. Okay, why? The neder was Chag. But she's permitted to go after Pesach. That means even though she's not allowed to benefit from her husband until Sukkot, but she's allowed to go to her father's house after Pesach. Because remember, the Isur was only until Pesach. After Pesach, she's allowed to go. She went before Pesach. You're right. She's allowed to benefit from the husband. But now there's no Yisur to go. So after Pesach, she's going to continue going to her father's house. Halcha, if she went before Pesach, Asura, she's not allowed to benefit from the husband. Lo halcha, she didn't go. She's not prohibited to the husband. Again, this is a Tanai. And you see from here, she's allowed to go. We're not going to suspect not she's allowed to go. She's allowed to benefit from her husband. So we're not going to suspect she's going to be over on the Tanai. So Rava comes and he says, even if she didn't go to the father, Asura, she's still prohibited to eat. Halcha Asura veloka. If she went before, so she's prohibited, plus she gets lashes, but she was over on the thigh. If she didn't go, so it's Isur Be'alma. Isur D'Rabbanan, because we don't want you to go against a Tanai. But Be'emet, right, there's no Isur. Meitvei, so we're going to ask the following question now. Kikar zu alai hayom imelech l'makam ploni machar. Imagine a person comes and he says that there's going to be a kunam on this bread, right? Remember, the kunam is making like a korban. Okay, so therefore he comes and he says kunam on this bread, right? If he's not going to eat it today, if he's going to go to a certain place tomorrow. So basically, it comes out that the eating of the kikar today is the isur, and the alichat tomorrow is a t'nai. Okay, achal. So he ate it, right? So now he's not allowed to go to that place. Okay, so now what does that mean? But we're not going to come but now it's going to come out the mafreya. He was over. That means if he does go to that place, the mafreya, now that's only a t'nai. So there's a question on Rabbi Yehuda. How could Rabbi Yehuda come and say he's allowed to eat it? He's not allowed to eat it. Because I'm going to suspect that tomorrow you're going to go to that place, as a Kaddish, as you've got a lot of problems, and you're over there on the Tanai. So ask the Gemara, Miktani, or there's an answer, but the Gemara is saying, Miktani, does it say Ochel? He's allowed to eat a lechatria. Achal Ktani. He already ate it. Meaning, if you're going to come to Medina and ask, can I eat it? The answer is no. Why? Maybe tomorrow you're going to go to the place. V'az mimila, you're over on the Tanai, and then you're going to be over the Mafreya. So Achal Ktani, you already did it. Because if you already ate it, you're going to be over on Valilech. Ve'alach, right? But now what happens if he did go? He went to a certain place. So then he's going to come and he's going to transgress the Isur of Alech al-Devaro. Malech lo, he says what? If he goes, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say mehalech, it says ve'alach. So v'kashla Rav Yehuda, meaning that like this. Rav Yehuda wanted to make the terminology. The fact that the Mishnah mentioned terminology of achal, that he ate it, and not that he's allowed to ochel et zeh, to eat it, meaning you already did b'diavad. If you ask, it's a sud. If you already ate it, achalta ota, kimo shomrim. Right? So fine. But it's not, what about halach? It says halach, it doesn't say me'alech. So says the Gemara, v'kashel Rav Yehuda. So Amalech Rav Yehuda is going to answer you, you could have said me'alech as well. But I did the reisha, but since you saw in the reisha achal, so therefore, dilo mitznin le ochel, that we didn't say ochel. So also in the Seifa, we learned halach, even though it's me'alech. One more time. What's the difference between the reisha and the Seifa? The reisha was to do with the Tanai, the Seifa was to do an Isur. Isur, I don't suspect that you're going to transgress. Tanai, I do suspect that you're going to transgress. So says, if right now comes and you say, I'm not allowed to drink this tea if tomorrow I'm going to go to Honolulu, right? So what happens is, right, I'm not allowed to eat today. Why? Because if I'm going to eat today, maybe tomorrow I'm going to go to Honolulu, and then in Mafreya, it comes out I didn't Isur. But that's a Tanai. So therefore, it says of Yehuda, yeah, but it says in the Mishnah, achal. Not that it's mutar lechol, achal. Right? If you ate it, but if you ask, you're not allowed to eat it. So therefore, obviously, it's not the same halacha. So he comes and he says, what about the next case? Was me'alech. Me'alech means that you're allowed to go to the certain place. So the other way around. He comes and he says, if I'm going to eat today, and if I'm going to eat today, it's a sur that I'm not allowed to eat tomorrow. So there's an isur tomorrow. So not tonight, right? If I eat to this today, I'm not allowed to go to Honolulu tomorrow. So now, if I eat it, now Honolulu tomorrow is not a tonight, it's an isur. There, I'm allowed to go. But it used the terminology alach. What's alach? Alach is b'diavad. You just told me achal is b'diavad. It should have said me'alech. You're allowed to go to Honolulu, right? Why? Because I'm not going to suspect you're going to be over there on isur, right? Or you're allowed to go to wherever it is, because I'm not going to suspect you're going to go over go do it on isur. So says the Gemara, you're right. But since I said achal, I said alach. It could have said me'alech. There's no problem. Okay? Next. Imagine a person comes and he says, right? He doesn't want to have relations with her. So he says, mishameshech, right? To use you, right? Why? So if he has relations with her, he's over and he's soon. So ask the Gemara, now this is where you guys were coming from before. You guys came before and you started jumping and said, why? You always have to wait. Right? If a person has patience, he gets to everything. Yeah, so what happens? So says the Gemara, one second. You have a shibud doraita, right? You have a shi'abud doraita, right? You have an obligation to give her relations. So if you have an obligation, how do you exempt yourself from an obligation? By making a neder. Right? Imagine a person comes to court. He doesn't have to give a treat. Why? He went and he told her, I wanted you to get me crackers without salt. You went against me. Kaddish on you. It's your fault. The courts are going to say, don't think that you could get yourself off so easy. You have an obligation. You can't take away your obligation and start making t'naim according to the way that you want. So says the Gemara, you're right. Be'omer, he comes and he says, Hana'at tashmishech alai. What does that mean? Kunam alai, that which means the husband is prohibiting on himself the tahanat of the tashmish. So therefore, he doesn't want the tashmish. He can do it, but he's allowed to be osel latzmo something. The Amar of Kana comes and he says, Tashmishi alecha, which means, right, if a woman comes and she says that she wants to prohibit onto the husband the tashmish, kofino ta u'mishamashto. We obligate her to have relations, right? The shabuda mishabedet le, because she's mishubedet to the husband to have relations, right? And therefore, and she cannot prohibit something which is not hers. She cannot prohibit something which is not hers. But if she said hana'at tishmishecha alai, that she's prohibiting the hana'av tashmish on her husband, so then he's not allowed to have relations with her. Because we don't give to somebody something which is a sur to him. So therefore, since she went and she said the hana'a is a sur, and therefore it's not obligation, meaning you're obligated to give your wife tashmish. You're not obligated to give to the wife the hana'at tashmish. The hana'a is on you. You don't want to have the hana'a, that's something different. So says the Gemara, right? Says the Gemara, the fact that we're coming now and saying that she's only prohibiting the hana'a of the tashmish from the husband, so therefore that she's allowed to. Yeah. Now the husband cannot come and force her to do something which is prohibited to him. So therefore the same thing to do with the other way around as well. If he comes and he prohibits himself to her, he's subjugated to her. But if he prohibits the hana'a onto her, it's going to be tofes, and therefore she cannot force him to do it. Obviously there would be other halachot, but this is just the back. Now on the bottom of Tedvav Mubet, right? Shavua she'eni yashen, she'eni medaber, she'eni me'alech, asur. Remember that all these things have to be a shavu. It cannot be a neder. A person makes a shavua that he's not going to sleep, he's not going to speak, he's not going to walk. It's going to be asur. Why? Because, right? No, that's what he's saying. He's saying over here, the dibur or the iluf, all these things are going to be something which is going to be chal on the person in himself. So he comes and he says like this, Korban lo ochal lecha. If a person comes and he says, right, about a korban, that he's not going to eat, what does that mean? It's not a neder, not a shavua, because a neder, enkan kolikar, because mashmaut leshono, he doesn't prove it himself like a korban, okay? And it's also, and if he had a kavanah of a shavua or whatever it is, also it's not, in lashon korban, shavua is not tofes. So he comes and he says, or ha-korban shel chalecha, which means that he's nishba bechaya korban, and there's no shavua in a korban, right? Or he says, lo korban lo chalecha, also, right, mutar. In all these cases, since it was not me like this, you need to do with a neder, it has to be or lashon isur, lashon korban, it has to be something tangible, right? Or the other lashonot of nedarim, kunameh, kunache, kunaseh. Chazak u'baruch. Okay, fine, very good. To do with the shavua, it could also be on something not tangible, but it has to be, it cannot be lashon of korban. It cannot be lashon of isur, right? The shavua, right? We said that was the difference between the neder and the shavua, right? So therefore, the shavua is on the person, correct? So now what happens is that he comes and he says the fact that he used the wrong terminology, it's not a neder, not a shavua, so it's mutar. Says the Gemara, Mani matnitin, who is our Mishnah? Rabbi Meir, it's Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda, but it's going to be Rabbi Yehuda, lo shani le korban, lo shani ha-korban. According to Rabbi Yehuda, there's no difference between ha-korban or korban. It's the exact same thing. Meaning the fact that you added the hey doesn't make a difference. Ema seifa, let's say the seifa. La korban lo chelecha, it's going to be mutar. Right? Now we learned in the Mishnah, la korban lo chelecha, Rabbi Meir is going to be Oser, Rabbi Yava, Amar Rabbi Yava. Na'asa komer la korban. Lefichach lo chelecha, so therefore it's not going to help. So says the Gemara, la kashya, it's not a question. Ha de amar le korban, ha de amar la le korban. Right? La, why? Because when you say la le korban, it means la vi korban kama. means that it's not going to be a korban. So therefore, the fact that you said that which he's not going to eat from his friend is not going to be a korban, so therefore there's no neder. If there's no neder, that's why we said that there's not going to be a problem.